Good afternoon and welcome to the Monday, October 20th, 2008 informational meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council. I'll call this meeting to order. And first up, we have a City Council staff report. We have updates from Deborah Owen, City Clerk.
Thank you and good afternoon, Sioux Falls City Council. A couple of reminders on your calendar that there is a charter revision tour for the Law Enforcement Center tomorrow at 2 p.m. And so those of you who would want to attend, we've already released that to the public, so you're sure welcome to attend. In addition, just for those of you who don't know, there's a Housing First Committee at 9:30 on Wednesday at the Sioux Land Health and Human Services Building. Land use will be next Monday at 5 p.m. They will be meeting. And then also next Tuesday, the following Tuesday, there'll be a 3 o'clock Charter Revision Commission meeting and a 4 o'clock Districting Commission meeting. And there was a couple of questions that came up last week concerning voter turnout and the Charter Revision. I know that Dee is going to talk to the Charter Revision Commission, and I just wanted to share with you some of those numbers. Back in 05, it was the rec center vote. The turnout was 23.6%. In 06, in April of 06, was the mayoral race, mayoral and city council. There was a turnout of 37%. Then there was a runoff for that race 2 weeks after, and that was the 33.5%. The Drake Springs pool in 07 was 14.9%, and then the council race earlier this year was 14%. So those numbers are kind of interesting as you can move forward. And then also, I think some of you are aware that the Charter Revision Commission are looking at changing the terms for council members. Even though I haven't heard that any council members would like to have unlimited term of office, they actually are looking at that. The only thing I have heard is one of you have talked about maybe making your terms 3 in a row, which would make it a 12-year consecutive terms. But that being said, we did look at some other cities as part of a study that we'll bring to you later this year concerning how a little over 10 cities who are home rule charter, strong mayor form of government. And what we have noticed for most of those, however, there are no term limits. So I don't know what that means in moving forward and what they will choose. But again, I have never heard the council as a great advocate for taking away term limits. And then I just wanted to read, there's some notes. There's this memo that was put together by Tamara to kind of just a brief summary. These notes are in your red notes for the most part, but a summary of the amendments at the 7 o'clock meeting tonight. And item number 1 is actually on your consent agenda, and there's some information there you may want to look at before you vote on the consent agenda. Remember, if you don't pull something from the consent, you will vote in one vote, and we won't discuss it. It's an abatement, and it's recommended for denial by the Director of Equalization and the State's Attorney's Office for Minnehaha County and the City Attorney of Sioux Falls. What you'll find in her notes is this person is asking for you to not vote on the denial. And there's about 3 pages attached here that you can look through and look at some of their reasoning. Again, if you don't pull it, you'll just simply vote, and it'll go right through. And next is the reconsideration. Just to let you know, you're going to make a motion to amend the ordinance and amend in that Section 3. And we have that language there for you. And then also there might be an amendment for the alcohol license, for revision of those beverages, alcohol beverages chapter, and that information is there for you. And then also, finally, there's some language changes as far as where the land is located for a preliminary plan you'll vote on later this evening on item number 34. And that's it.
Thank you, Deborah. Questions of Deborah. Councilor Knudsen.
Deborah, thank you so much for that information, a good review of the turnout on those last elections, and I'd love to have a copy of that. And then also last week, after I made my pitch again for maybe a change on that as far as possibly having city and school board elections if in the future line up with state elections, as someone asked me about the cost of elections in the last few years, and I don't have those numbers memorized. So sometime at your convenience, there's no rush on this, but maybe sometime, well, before charter revision if possible, would you mind just putting together just the best numbers you can as far as the cost from the city standpoint on those last elections that you just gave numbers on? And then secondly is, I'm just curious if I hope that, I'll just say it like this, I really, really hope that several of you who are not even officially on that site committee for housing could join us this Wednesday at 9:30 over in the Health and Human Services building, because I know that Councilor Anderson's work hours have changed now, so I know that he is probably unable to attend that meeting, though he's very, very interested in being kept up on that topic, and he cares a great deal about that topic like the rest of us. And I think there's a possibility that our Homeless Advisory Board Councilor Brown, may get to join us Wednesday morning. And what I'd love to see as many of the rest of you as possible. How does that look on your calendar, Councilor Costello? All right. Okay, and maybe Councilor Jameson. And anyway, seriously, I just would love to get a little more participation on that, because I just want us to keep moving forward at a nice pace on that project. It's getting colder outside.
Councilor Staggers, did you have something?
Yes, Deb, I was just wondering, do you have any knowledge of who's kind of asking the Charter Revision Commission about term limits for us here on the City Council, since none of us apparently want to make a change?
I don't know. They did ask me what I felt about it, if I had heard from the council when they talked about it months ago. I actually said that many of you are, 8 years is actually a long time because you're part-time, so that means you're probably full-time elsewhere, that I've never heard an indication that you would want to. But then when I posed the question to the council, actually nobody had been really all for that. But I think some of their reasoning amongst the charter revision folks was that you have the potential of turning over a council, such as, it hasn't happened in the past, but we have that potential coming up in the 2010 where we'll have 3 members who are termed. And so you could possibly change out half the council in one election. That was their concern.
Yeah, I guess my concern is that here we have a group talking about these issues, and they haven't bothered to ask us about these issues. It seems like it's just coming out of nowhere.
Anybody else have any thoughts on the term limit thing for City Council? Nobody's biting on it. Councilor Knudsen?
Well, I'm just speaking for myself, but I believe that 8 years on the City Council is adequate, and I really believe in letting other creative, conscientious people step forward and run for office. And I do think the Charter Revision Council. Commission, excuse me, I do think they're interested in our opinion all the time. I mean, we see emails all the time from the city clerk's office, and we get their minutes and their agenda. So I think they really are interested in our input. I know I've only shown up once myself at a meeting, so I think they want to hear from us.
They do.
Yes, I'm sure they would. I was at one meeting where Dr. Staggers got up and testified, and then I sat in on one, Pat sat in on one, but other than that, I'm not too sure that anybody else showed up for them. It was down here. I mean, they held it in these chambers here when I saw it, but there was a very thin attendance. So either everybody's real satisfied with the way the government's working, or real busy. I'm not sure which it is. So
that meeting again is the 28th of October. Is that correct? At
Yes.
3:30? Do I have that correct?
At 3 o'clock here at the Carnegie Town Hall.
3 o'clock. Thank you. That's a nice reminder again for anyone out there.
And then for those who can't attend but would like to watch it, you can view it live. We do web stream that, and then we also archive those, so you can actually go back and look at those online if you wanted to see what they talked about in the previous meeting. Those are available for those who are listening.
And I assume that if people are unable to attend, besides watching live, I assume if they want to email the Charter Revision Commission, they could do that, and if they wanted to send an email to you or to one of the city councilors, that we could forward that to the entire Charter Revision Commission quite quickly?
Yes, of course, we'll be a conduit if that is the desire of those out there.
very good. Anything else on that matter? Next, we have the Chair's Audit Committee. I see Gerald's gone. Was there an Audit Committee meeting last week?
There was. We reviewed a number of reports by Rich, and he will be presenting 2 audit reports next Monday at the informational meeting.
Very good. Was there a discussion also about the cell phone policy? Was that something?
That was Fiscal Committee.
Fiscal Committee, very good.
Which I'd be happy to talk about.
Well, you're up next then, Pat, so Fiscal Committee.
Well, we had a conversation about cell phone policy, and I believe we passed a recommendation that will be coming to the council regarding a stipend, if you will, for council members, so they only have to carry one device instead of having two different for the city and a personal one. So that'll be coming. And we also heard some information from the planning department regarding TIFs, and there's a recommendation to bring in a individual, Vernon Drew calls it from peer, to the individual that's going to come speak to us on regarding TIFs was from peer, or was it? Yeah, it was from peer. And they're going to schedule that. I'm sure that'll be the next scheduled fiscal meeting.
Councilor Knudsen.
On the topic of TIFs, I meant to bring an article for all of you. I was on the front page of the Rapid City Journal yesterday about their experience recently with their TIF for Cabela's and so forth, and I just meant to bring that, and I'm sorry I didn't, and you might want to check that online. It might be interesting for you.
Okay. That's good. Very good. Thank you for that.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilor Costello. Land Use Committee, Greg?
No report other than we'll be meeting next Monday at 5 o'clock.
What was the subjects of the meeting for next week, Greg?
Railroad crossings on the east side of town and garbage and recycling.
Very good. Thanks, Greg.
Please come and attend.
Public Services, Kenny?
We had a meeting last week. Discussion was over Code of Ethics ordinance. Some suggestions was made on that. We're still working on that. Also, city events and block party ordinance. Once again, more work is being done on that, and we'll report that as we move along.
Very good. Questions of Councilors Anderson and Jamison? Very good. Next, item number 8 is City Council open discussion. Are there any discussions for the greater good here today? Well, I guess this is going to be a short meeting. We've already had our staff report. Unless Mr. Staggers wants to go into executive session, why, I'm going to move for adjournment. No. Councilor Anderson.
Just one thing to all council members. Public Services Committee is looking at security here within the building. If you have any suggestions or concerns, please email me.
Thank you, Kenny. Anything else for the good of the order today? Well, then we're going to stand adjourned, and I'll see everybody at 7 o'clock.
Wow. This is, oh, yeah. Wow. I knew it was going to be this fast.